And welcome back, episode 118 of the Ranting Rangers podcast in partnership with Inside the Rink. I'm your host, Jacob Berkowitz, and I'm alongside my co-host, Brett. Brett, how's it going?
So great. I just finished up this new recording on this app everyone should download called Pro Sports Fans. We're there doing every game or most games.
I hate you so
It's a
much.
lot better.
I'm going to have to, this just made my night longer. This just made my night so much longer.
I know, I couldn't help myself. I'm sorry. It's right at the beginning. You just have to describe the beginning, or you just cancel it and we can start again. I'm sorry. I couldn't help myself.
No, I can't fully blame you.
Yeah.
Right,
I do wish I could advertise it though and just say like,
No,
hey,
I do
check
too.
it out. But yeah, I know,
Yeah.
I know. I won't do it. I won't do it again.
Yeah, no, I don't believe that. No, or else we don't. We're not eligible for when they have this deal of sponsorship and all that.
Yeah, have we heard anything about that yet?
I'll reach out to him tomorrow.
Okay.
I haven't checked the Slack in a while, but I'll reach out.
I want my Ticketmaster money.
Yeah. It'd be nice to pay for Rangers ticket on Ticketmaster, but
yeah, or if we get a credit, I'm like, I want to use that shit.
Yeah, that'd be really that'd be. Anyways, all right, let's start this up again. All right, ready? And welcome back, episode 118 of the Ranting Rangers podcast in partnership with Inside the Rink. I'm your host, Jacob Berkowitz, and I'm alongside my co-host, Brett. Brett, how's it going?
Great. Just got done watching the game, and that's all I was doing was watching the game. And it was a great game to watch and take in. I will say that I bet on Lafreniere to score, but I also bet on Cale Makar to score too, and that didn't happen. But I did want to point out that I did nail Laffy. I said I was feeling it for him tonight. And boy, I mean, that goal is such a good goal that I just want to break down a little bit. First off, Quick made a great play coming out of his net to retrieve that puck, because otherwise that was going to be Colorado's possession in the zone. So he made a great play coming really far out of his net and then made a nice pass to Lafreniere. Lafreniere makes such a good move. I believe it was Ranting that was defending him. He makes such a good move, not to just cut back, but also shield the puck around. And then you notice Gustafsson crosses in front of Georgiev. And at that exact moment, right before, he actually had an open look on Georgiev right before he crosses, but he actually waits for him to cross to get the perfect screen, to get the perfect shot. That's the kind of goal scorer's goal that we saw in all the highlight reels that made us all just quiver with excitement about him being a Ranger. And it's just so satisfying to finally start to see that happen. We've been seeing that all year now. Yeah, he doesn't have the point production that we would have wanted at this point yet. Some of that's some bad luck, and some of that's just, refining that last 10% of your game sort of thing. But I think it's really impressive how noticeable he is on the ice, how many plays he is making, and a goal like that in overtime to seal a clutch comeback win. It's just exactly the kind of thing we want to see going forward. And
also a good screen by Gustafsson.
And great screen by Gustafsson. Great screen. Can't understate that. Yeah, and great use of Laffy to be aware of that and to wait, because he had a shot he could have fired off right before then. He knew to wait, and that's what I mean by
play shot. Also,
it was perfectly placed. It's a goal scorer's goal. And if you're not excited about what Lafreniere's done this season, I think you need to move beyond the box scores, beyond the stats columns, and really start paying attention to him when he's on the ice, because he's becoming more and more of a difference maker every night. And it's the exact kind of leap you want to see, barring tons of points. If you're not going to get tons of points, this is the type of leap forward in play that you want to see out of a top guy like that. So I'm really happy, and obviously a much needed win, and against a top tier team too. I mean, as we were talking earlier today, going into the third period, being down one goal after having 3 penalty kills against a team like Colorado is not a terrible game. Now, yeah, we could have generated more offensively, and that would have been nice. But we didn't collapse. We didn't have a ton of breakdowns. We didn't give them a ton of chances. I mean, Quick played good. He played a very good game, and it did keep us in it a couple times. But he didn't have to completely stand on his head in order to keep the Rangers in that game either.
The defense was a lot better this game. They had their moments. They had their moments of collapsing, but it was better.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
But they gotta figure out this. I don't see how you're waiting till the actual trade deadline day to figure out this 3C situation. If you can't get Henrique, you got to figure it out who the hell else you can get. There's a lot of different experimental options, and if it's not Henrique, odds are it is an experimental option. When you look at that name, it'll be someone who you could say has that chance to be able to be that 3C, but also could be a disaster. It's just how the market is right now. It's not a great year to have problems at center. It's the way it is. And then you also got to address that right winger with Mika and Kreider because, man, you can't keep them together if you don't have that proper right winger with them because it's becoming ridiculous was a while ago.
Oh yeah, Blake Wheeler being on the first line was ridiculous at the beginning of the season. It's patently absurd in February.
I get like maybe you want to go cock on the third line to create that balance, but like no disrespect to Johnny Brzezinski, but it's not gonna do. You're either gonna Mika's hasn't been doing well, and I know he's been going through rough patches. Like every single year he goes through that rough patch, but this year it's just been beyond that. And they either got to address it quickly or they got to switch the lines up. Maybe you'd go with Panarin, Mika, and Lafreniere, and then Kreider, Trocheck, and Kakko. Kreider and Trocheck underratedly have a underrated chemistry in the little games that they've been together. But yeah, I don't see any trade taking as long as the trade deadline just because it simply can't.
No, and I get why some people want to be patient and make sure we're getting the right deal, but honestly, the market isn't going to get better for us the longer we wait. And the faster we can address these issues and get a team gelling, the better off it's going to be for a playoff run. And yeah, I love those hypothetical lines too. Panarin and Zibanejad and Lafreniere, it's almost a no-brainer at this point. And you're not sacrificing the second line either because you still have Panarin and Lafreniere being able to play with each other. But you're also, I think, you're doing something different with Kreider, forcing him to play with somebody like Trocheck and then Kakko. That's you get speed on one, you get speed on two of the sides because Trocheck has got some decent wheels too. But you get Kreider and Trocheck, and then you have a possession monster like Kakko to be able to maintain possession. I think that's a pretty deadly 1-2, and honestly, the best use of the people that we have right now.
Yeah, I just also it's just like when people scream, "Oh, they're gonna get Vatrano, they should get Vatrano." Like, I mean, if you go look about what it's cost to get players with term who are at a friendly AVV at the trade deadlines, it's astronomical, and it's just it's not going to happen. You're probably looking at wingers like either Duclair, Eberle. Eberle, I think would be a nice fit with Mika and Zibanejad. That's a winger that I think could, because Mika and Kreider alone as the duo with any random winger, they won't work 5-8-5. You got to get specifically the right winger. And it's just, I feel like Eberle could do that. Maybe Duclair. Vince mentioned on, I don't remember if it was the Jeff Marek show or 32 Thoughts. So I apologize for, and I'm paraphrasing here because I don't want to misquote. But the Rangers were looking for speed and playoff toughness. I mean, Henrique kind of fits that playoff toughness, and then I think Eberle or Duclair would fit that speed. I mentioned last week maybe a player like Blake Lizotte if he's fully healthy in a week or two. He's injured right now, but again, one season removed from 32 even strength points out of his 34 points. He has played 3C, 1.6 million. He has that speed, like real speed, and he plays special teams. And with LA needing to clear up cap space and a roster spot for Victor Arvidsson's return, I don't think it's out of the question. But again, I mean, they got to outbid Colorado, Carolina. Who am I missing? Colorado, Carolina, maybe Dallas because Sam Steele's their third line center. So I don't know what their priority is, but that looks like a spot they could address. Boston is always looking for centers, even though they're really old for some weird reason. And I think that's it. I might be forgetting one else, but that's probably who you're going to outbid. Odds are it's Colorado, who you're going to probably have to outbid in the end. And I don't know. if they can, Colorado has 2 second-round picks this year and a first. Henrik, realistically, as much as no one likes it here to hear it, Henrik's going to cost first. It's how the market is, the supply and demand. Henrik's the only proper center left. It's how it works. It's not the greatest. I was hoping for like how Drury's done the past 2 years, where the second-round pick could become a conditional first-round pick, but I feel like one of the other teams is going to be willing to throw in a first-round pick as a solo thing, unless Anaheim for some reason likes the Rangers prospect that they'd like to send with the second, and the second becoming a first on condition of the Eastern Conference Final, maybe. But I don't know. It is tough because if it's not Henrik, it's experiments.
I mean, the one thing I do wonder is, like you said, there's always things that are kind of outside the realm of what we are aware of and think of, and I really do wonder if there's something to the effect of like, they're like, yeah, we don't think we're getting Hedel back. We're not just looking for a playoff fill-in. We're actually looking for somebody that can, help us out the next few years as well. If they're not willing to do a bit more and go after a guy on a team that, maybe is kind of a bubbly team that isn't planning on really making a run this year, that is just kind of like outside the scope of what we're really looking at as far as like UFAs, RFAs sort of situations. I don't have anybody in mind because I think that gets into wild speculation territory. It's just something I want to keep in mind, that like, as you're looking at the options, you're right. As far as like UFAs go, the market is very, very small, but I do always wonder if there aren't circumstances that we're just not privy to, that might mean there's guys in play that we would have thought and considered. So that's just, as a fan, just something to keep in mind, that as we come down, it may not look very exciting right now, but there still could be something exciting in the pipeline too.
Right. Well, the two things also you have to take into account is one, I mean, they aren't fair comparables because they're younger, and either on a 2-year deal or an RFA was Tanner Gino, and Brendan Hagel were probably the last examples, and the price that they went for. Obviously, they were younger. It's got to be a little bit more than what the Rangers would. Like, I saw Boone Jenner, right? I mean, he's the captain of Columbus, trade him in Division 2, the Rangers. Also, with the Rangers is you don't know for sure Heal's done, right? And what happens if he is back? The cap is supposed to go up, like $4.5 million? Kakko's probably going to get the same. Who knows regarding Lindgren? And say they don't like what Lindgren is. I'm not sure if he has arbitration rights. I got to check. But if they don't like the route with Lindgren, then they got to tap him to the free agent market. And how much is that going to cost? They might cup themselves with the cap, and then they might have to end up trading a player for pennies on the dollar because of that tight cap situation. So I don't know, unless it's a guy that's $3 million or less.
Setting off a mid-range prospect, for somebody to swallow Barclay Goodrow, and that gives us another 3.6 right there.
But that's the thing. Like, under normal circumstances, that's probably the offer now. What happens if you have no choice but to get rid of Barclay Goodrow, right? Like, now you should. Now you really should, but you don't have to.
Right.
But in the offseason, where you actually have to because of cap, another team might take advantage of that and demand more.
Right, which is why it almost makes sense for me to pull the trigger now.
You're saying if Goodrow would go the other way now?
Yes.
Oh, if you're talking about a long-term deal with another thing and Goodrow going the other way, yeah. I mean, the prices would be astronomical, but
well, no, just for a team to swallow some cap, that doesn't really need to, and maybe wants to have a winner for their young guys, Stanley Cup winner. He's a Stanley Cup winner.
Wanted that. I heard Ottawa wanted that.
Boy.
Man,
if any team could use him, it's Ottawa.
Man, Goodrow throws such a wrench into like any sort of like. I mean, Buchnevich is gone because of him. Vatrano is gone because of him. I mean, there have been so many casualties that have just been brutal.
Mm-hmm.
And I think people are overrating Vatrano just a little bit. He was good with Kreider and Zibanejad, but no one solved Kreider and Zibanejad's 5v5 like Buchnevich did. No one
No, because Vatrano is not a play driver like Buchnevich is. Vatrano is, when he's playing at his best, is an excellent shooter. But like his shooting percentage at the beginning of the year was like off the charts, and everyone knew it was unsustainable too. Now, like, he's still performing well overall, and he's still a guy that I would love to have and we could use. But yeah, he's not Buchnevich. He's not out there driving play like Buchnevich did.
Yeah, and his price is going to be way too high. Because I mean, yeah, like the GM's going to say, listen, he's technically, because every team has a player in the All-Star game, he's an All-Star winger making like really good. I don't remember the exact number, but 3 million, 3.5 million range. Friendly AVV for this year and next year in a cap restraint world. So, pay up. So I wouldn't. I'd probably look at Eberle, Duclair. I'm missing a few names, but
yeah, Vatrano's 3.6 for this year, next year, and then he's a UFA.
Yeah, I'm worried though the Ducks are going to try to drag this out as long as they can to create that bidding war and desperation from teams, and that's not going to be good news for the Rangers. I can't imagine a world where they don't get Henrique, because the Rangers always get that player at the trade deadline. Like, they always end up doing it, but it's just this year it is. I mean, I don't know. I mean, let's say Colorado says, hey, we got Landeskog maybe in the playoffs. Why don't we try to go on another run here? So then they threw in a first and a conditional pick, and the Rangers are like, well, screw this. Like, we also have a problem with the wing. Like, we need assets all around to spend. But I don't know.
Yep.
It's I'm trying to think honestly though, but like this game like clearly showed. I mean, the Rangers have a problem 5v5, and it's not just a 3C problem. It's a winger problem, and it's really, really bad. And they got to get this right with this winger. The whole concern with the center should be as important with the wing, because Mika's just not himself, and you got to get that winger to get them to click. And while 3C has been the target, the right ring should be equivalent to this point, because they're not, as much as you and I say they should change the lines, are they going to change the lines? No. So.
No, for some reason they're content to have Blake Wheeler out there. I do not get it. I don't know what they're seeing. It's so painfully obvious that it actually boggles the mind. I really don't know what they're on about. It bothers me immensely every time I see him out there. And you know what the weird thing is too, is that oftentimes when we're down late in the game, he gets taken off that first line. Like, that's a move that Laviolette makes a fair amount, is he'll swap somebody out so Wheeler isn't out there with him. And I'm like, okay, so you do know that that's not the best way to generate offense. I can't believe that you don't think it's not better to make those top two lines as good as you possibly can and not worried about the depth down low. Now, of course, as now I'm forgetting who actually said this, but one of our recent guests was saying that, a guy like Blake Wheeler, though, he's only going to do anything good if he's playing with those other guys. And if you take him away from those guys, then he's going to be like, he shouldn't even be in the lineup at all.
He has to get that top six.
Yes, he has to be with those top six guys. Otherwise, he's just completely useless and shouldn't be in the lineup at all. And that, that maybe is part of the equation that we're not seeing, or that we're not considering as much as maybe something like Laviolette is like, maybe he's like, I can't just not play him. And the only way it makes sense is for him to be regularly playing, with Mika and Kreider, which is just a shit position to be in. And it underlines your point all the more that we need a winger. We need another winger really badly. Frankly, I think Kakko should be getting another chance in the top six again. I don't really see why he's not, because we don't have better options anyway. But yeah, regardless, we need another winger to fill out that lineup, because Blake Wheeler should not be in this lineup at all.
And the problem is with Eberle, Seattle's not out of it yet. You're gonna have to wait till later the trade deadline, about closer to the trade deadline day, to see if Seattle's gonna be willing to be a seller.
I just hope the next 8 games just total schneid. They just fucking
losing
tank.
over.
They're just writing off the season and they're just selling off everyone.
Sprong, I'd say Sprong, but I'm hesitant for him to give Yzerman a call.
Yeah,
that feels like a position to get fleeced. Perron, not a fan of. Vince did say they mentioned that they were obviously 5v5 is an issue, so Perron's like a power play merchant. That's not happening.
and how old is he?
Like 34, I think. I don't know.
More like 94.
There's no real difference to him.
He's 35.
35.
Yeah, I think it's funny sometimes when I like consider, I'm like, oh, David Perron, that guy is ancient and he's 4 years younger than me. Hockey math, it's different. It's different.
I honestly like Duclair or Eberle is your players to get. I'm probably missing a few because I didn't update it in a week, and I got to.
I mean, Duclair is a flashy pick in a couple ways, but like he's also not, I mean, like he had a couple, nice seasons, but like he's only hit 20 goals 3 times in his career.
I guess the whole interest is the speed.
Yeah. And he can be a goal scorer. Like he's done it, like what was like when he's playing with the Panthers, but when he was playing with the Panthers too, was he on a line with Barkov? I feel like he was. Anyway, I'm not going to speculate on the Panthers, but yeah, I mean he's an enticing pick because he's got a lot of speed. He can score in droves. He's like, Duclair is like one of those guys that you like because in the regular season he might score 15 goals and you're like, all right, whatever. But then he's that
like that 16-game player.
He's like that guy in the playoffs who all of a sudden is like he puts up 9 goals in 16 games and you're like, I love this man with all my heart. So I get why he's an enticing pick. And honestly, just because of where he's playing, that he hasn't been lighting it up, injury prone. What does his contract look like actually?
He's $3 million.
And he's not a UFA though, is he?
He is a UFA.
Oh, he is a UFA. I thought he had 1 more year left.
No.
That is pretty interesting. Yeah, you're right. $3 million and UFA. It's pretty interesting.
Question is what Eberle would cost if
he
become available.
It's almost too big of an if to wait around for.
But it's like, do you like you either establishing that you want Kakko as your top line winger or whoever you're getting as your top line winger? Do you think Duclair is the answer with Mika and Kreider?
No, I don't.
So are you thinking Kakko's on the first line?
No, I don't. I think he's on the second line.
So the answer is not Duclair. I mean, in your opinion, yeah, I'd assume then Duclair wouldn't be the answer.
Why couldn't he be a third line?
I just asked you third line.
Yeah.
You just said no.
Yeah, but I'm saying rearrange the lines like we had discussed earlier.
Oh, yeah, but I'm trying to be realistic here.
Oh, well, I thought we're just trying to put the best team together we possibly can.
No. We gotta do it this way. We gotta keep Kreider and Mika together.
I don't like it.
But theoretically speaking, we know the Rangers won't split them up, right? So in your eyes, then Duclair would not be an answer.
No, he's not. He's absolutely not then. I mean, he may help out. I mean, it's another speed threat with him and Kreider, and that could create some more. But then all we're doing is we're back to trying to generate 5v5 offense off the rush, and that's about it.
Yeah, you need more. I mean, even on the rush now, that's like at least we were always good on the rush. It was offensive pressure was the problem, but even now the rush for and against have been rough.
Oh yeah.
I mean, look at the McKinnon goal tonight. Let's see the wingers. I didn't update it because some are in the mix still, but I mean, yeah, no, like Eberle was one. Theoretically Zucker, but he's been niche. He's been garbage. Man, this trade deadline thing just sucks. It's been brutal.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not super exciting, but that's again why I am holding out hope that I'm not hope because I don't want Hito to be done.
But to be fair, like we didn't know what Vatrano was.
No.
Like we didn't know what he was when he was traded. Like Sprong. Okay, so it's Sprong or Eberle. Sprong or Eberle. And that's the thing. Like you can't wait on Eberle because you have to decide. Let's say Colorado wants, not Colorado. Ducks want a first, right? So you get them a first, and they want maybe a conditional pick, right? And you don't know how much Eberle is going to cost yet, right? Maybe you need that pick.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if you're Drury what you're doing. I don't think you could wait if Seattle decides to. I'm not. Man, this sucks.
Sprong is interesting as well.
Sprong would be the one, but I don't
think
see.
You don't think they want to sign him though?
If he honestly, that's why I don't think the Rangers could get him. I think Yzerman could get a team to give him a first.
Honestly, if I was them, I'd want to sign him.
Well, but if someone would give you a first,
are the Red Wings really in the position where they need to be collecting more and more draft picks still?
It's not necessarily just the pick itself, but it's that draft day where you could acquire better players than you actually kind of trade deadline. I mean, okay, DeBrincat 1 year. Who is it? Who am I missing? I'm missing plenty of players. Reinhardt, unfortunately, Buchnevich. Like there are plenty of quality players drafted in like days after that are available for not that much. So a first round pick at that time is not necessarily just the value of a first round just to draft, but could be used for a better player. Man, I'm like hoping like, all right, there's got to be someone here. I'm probably missing someone in general, but holy cow, it just sucks.
Yeah, it's less than ideal, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, you're probably unrealistic, but probably best case scenario is Henrique and Eberle, but I don't think that's not going to happen. You're not going to get both with the amount of assets you have, unless for some crazy reason Henrique doesn't cost the first. And again, while he maybe shouldn't, because of the price, supply, and demand type thing, and there only being him, with there being a bunch of teams that need a center, someone's going to pay up. I'm looking one more, and then I think we're going to imagine Bill Villiers. Like, imagine we were frustrated years ago about Kreider's inconsistency. Just wait till you have Anthony Beauvillier.
Yeah.
Man, Sprong, Duclair. There are a few, but I guess we'll see. But again, I don't know how Drury can say, yeah, let's wait till the trade deadline. I don't see it. But again, the ball isn't really in his court because the Ducks could drag this thing as long as they want to up the desperation in the bidding war. But we're gonna have a bit of a shorter episode here. We did have an emergency, whatever you want to call it, Friday. If you want to check that out, we talk about more in depth about the trade deadline targets. But yeah, Brett, anything you want to say before we head off?
Not that I'm allowed to, anyway.
Okay. I appreciate the self-control there. So, all right, yeah. So, thank you to our listeners, and we will see you next time.